So if you want to just grab a seat, either a bolster or cushion or a brick or some books, anything to just lift your seat up a little bit higher, and then just come to a comfortable seat. We're just going to take a little bit of time just to ground and tune in. I'm going to explain a little bit what we're doing as well. So today we're working on apana vayu. Vayu means wind. So we're working in these systems in yoga in different movements in the body. So apana vayu is a wind that moves downward in the body. So it's very grounding. It allows us to release. It's to do with excretion. So going to the toilet and also menstruation. And it's just that releasing of energies, releasing of emotions, and our ability to really find forgiveness is the heart of what apana vayu is, and to really let go. So it allows us to, if we have a healthy apana vayu, it allows us to really move forward in life detached and moving through the rhythms of life. So we move through and we release. We move forward and we let go. And we just allow life to happen. We don't hold on or grip or stay stuck in the past. We're not worrying about the future. We're very present, and it helps us to really feel quite embodied and very aware of what's going on around us, because we're able to stay in this moment. We're not gripping hold of anything that's gone or to come. So it's a really nice one to tie in with Yin Yoga, because Yin is a very sacred space for us to let go and for us to really tune into that energy of apana. So we can find as much release, as much embodiment, as much in presence in what's going on in our physical, mental, emotional self, but also to allow ourselves to really surrender to what is, to maybe find more space around our thoughts, around our day, around what we're feeling, what we're moving through. And this practice will really help us to release and let go. So we're going to be focusing on that for today. And it's all around the pelvic region, which the wind is primarily focused in. So we want to bring most of our awareness and attention into our seat and to grounding and to really feeling that downward movement of energy, that gravity. So if you just take a moment to find a comfortable seat, find your sit bones onto the floor, maybe onto the bolster, onto the brick, and you might want to move the flesh out just so you feel your two sit bones grounded nice and firmly. And then find a nice tall length into the spine. Just roll your shoulders up, back and down to open your chest, and feel a nice lengthening in the abdomen, lengthening downward through the tailbone and up into the crown of the head, so we get as much space into the spine as you can. And then we can start to close down through the eyes. Just drawing your awareness into the body, taking a few rounds of breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And as you inhale, finding space and length through the body, through the breath. Filling up the lungs fully, and as you exhale, feeling a grounding, a sinking and a settling feeling in the body. So letting yourself really drop into your seat. Just take a couple more rounds of breath, let yourself arrive in the space. Allow yourself to really feel your presence on your mat. Just tuning in to how your physical body feels, noticing if there's any areas of tension or tightness, and seeing if you can just soften and let go as you exhale. Again, not gripping or holding or judging, but just becoming aware of where you're at, how you're feeling. And emotionally checking in, mentally checking in. And just taking 2 more rounds of breath here. So start to bring your awareness now right down into the pelvic floor. So apana vayu is linked in with Mula Bandha and Muladhara center. So the Muladhara is our root center. It's the very, very base of the spine. So for women, it's the very bottom of the cervix, and for men, it's the perineum. So we want to bring all of our awareness down into this root center at the very base of the pelvis, base of the spine, the bottom part of our whole being, where we meet the earth through our seat. And just start to tune into any sensations that are here. Sometimes we feel a slight tension or clenching in the muscles, and see if you can really relax into the seat so you feel that you're spreading more and connecting more into the earth or the prop beneath you. Take a few breaths, really bring your awareness down as you exhale. So Mula Bandha it means root lock. Mula, root, Bandha, lock. So Mula Bandha is what we want to use today, just to encourage that sensation of drawing downward into the pelvic basin and into this root center. So we're really activating the energy into this root space. And to activate and engage Mula Bandha, you want to gently pull all of the sexual muscles up into the pelvis. So you're squeezing all of the muscles in the pelvic basin. And it's like a gathering feeling in and up. So just gently start to squeeze and activate this lock, this lift in the pelvic floor muscles, in the rectal muscles, and start to gently squeeze. And as you inhale, you can slowly start to release. So softening as you inhale, and as you exhale, a gentle squeezing of the pelvic floor, Mula Bandha. And again, inhaling to soften and relax. Exhale, gentle gathering of the muscles. And we'll just do that 2 more times. And last time, inhaling to soften, relax. And exhaling to activate, gentle squeezing. At the beginning, it might feel more like a strong squeeze, and then as we build more awareness here, it starts to feel more like a soft, gentle gathering. Nice. So you can just release the focus of that, and we'll use that throughout the class today, just to bring more energy down into this root center. So you can slowly start to blink open the eyes, and we're going to come over onto all fours. So just move any props out to the side and make your way towards the middle of your mat, coming onto all fours. So bringing your hands under your shoulders, nice wide base, and knees underneath your hips. You can have the toes just relaxing backwards, and a little bend into the elbows, coming into a neutral spine. Just taking a few rounds of cat-cows to relax the spine, to move any tension out of the day, and to find that connection again to Mula Bandha, the root lock. So as we inhale, we can start to lift the tailbone, let the belly and the heart drop and dip toward the floor. Stretch through the front line of the body to take your gaze all the way up as you inhale. Open front line of the body. And as you exhale, we're going to slowly tuck chin to chest, tuck tailbone towards the belly button, and lift into pelvic floor. Feel that squeeze your belly button back to the spine, and then round through the back as you exhale the breath out. Inhale to let the front body open, tailbone and gaze lifts. Exhale, rounding the spine, tucking under, lifting and squeezing into the pelvic floor, root lock. Chin to chest. And then just moving with your own breath. Try to sync the movement to your breath. So it's a full movement to the end of the position and a full exhale, moving yourself to the end of your cat pose. And the more we can sync the breath to our movement, the more present we become, and the more it becomes more like a meditation. We start to drop the thinking mind and we move into the body, start to acknowledge and notice what's going on physically. Nice, we're just going to do one more round. Take the time. Coming back to a neutral spine, we're going to move through from a all fours into child's pose. So taking an inhale here in your all fours. And as you exhale the breath fully out, we're going to slowly push back into child's pose, lifting through the pelvic floor muscles, squeeze and lift Mula Bandha. Exhale the breath fully out. As you inhale, slowly come back to all fours. Relax the belly, relax Mula Bandha. And as you exhale, again, we're pushing back from the hands, coming to tuck the tailbone under, lengthen the spine, the lower back. Squeeze navel to spine, come all the way down to child. Lift in the root lock, Mula Bandha. And again, inhale to come to all fours. Just doing this 3 more times. As you exhale, see if you can go a little bit slower in your movement. So you're taking about 2 more seconds to make your way back, lengthening the spine, lengthening the arms, lengthening your exhale. And as you inhale, keep a nice slow movement still, but not as slow as your exhales. Seeing if you can take another slower movement into your child's pose this time, really finding small, subtle shifts as you gently push back. Keeping chin tucked to chest. And we're doing the last one, inhaling to all fours. And exhale to child's pose. We're going to pause here. So coming all the way down into your child. Making any final adjustments that feel good before we pause here. So you can find as much as you can to really tuck the tailbone under, pulling the navel back to the spine. You can stretch your arms forward, or if it feels more comfortable for your shoulders, you can bring your hands back to your hips. If it's a little bit too much for your knee gene, you can come over onto your back and just make your way to a recline position, bringing your knees into your chest, maybe holding around the back of the knee. Nice, we're here just breathing, trying to find as much lengthening in your exhales as you can, and really allow your belly to expand and open as you inhale. So you're finding a nice pressure against the abdomen and thigh. And then as you exhale, maybe see if you can gently activate and lift into the pelvic floor muscles, squeezing into your Mula Bandha, your root block. I'll just here for about another 30 seconds. So child's pose is a really beautiful pose to ground us, to bring us back inward and to connect us in with the earth. So try to allow yourself to really let go, to sink, and to feel that deep connection with the support of the earth beneath you. We're just taking another 3 rounds of breath here. Really take your time with your exhales. Try to elongate your exhale, lifting the pelvic floor as you do. Encouraging that downward movement of energy, sensation of releasing and letting go. Nice, just taking your last round of breath here. And with your next inhale, we can slowly start to come back up onto all fours. And this time we're going to do a little bit of movement from all fours to downward dog. So from here, take an inhale in all fours. And as we exhale, we're going to tuck the toes under, push the hips up and back, coming into downward facing dog. As we inhale, we're slowly bringing the knees back down to the floor. And as we exhale, taking a slow push up and back, counting for 4. As you push all the way back, lengthening the spine, keeping a little bend into the knees so we find integrity in the spine. And as we inhale, again, coming back down to all fours. As we exhale, pushing up and back, seeing if we can come back for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lengthen spine. As you inhale, slowly coming back down to your knees. We're going to do last time, inhaling here, exhaling for 6 as we lift up a little slower. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Finding nice wide base through the hands, really spread across the knuckles, through the fingers. Try to release and let go for the soles of the feet. And the heels are edging towards the floor. The heels don't particularly need to be on the floor. And I would suggest just having a little bend into the knees to keep the integrity of the spine and keep the stretch happening in the spine. Try to let your chin tuck to your chest so your neck lengthens in the back. The belly button is pulling back to the spine as you exhale the breath. See if you can engage Mula Bandha here as you exhale. And as we inhale, we're finding a little bit more space and length through the spine, through the backs of the legs will naturally open. And feeling grounded through the hands, through the feet. Just breathe in here for another 3 rounds of breath. So again, as you inhale, you're allowing root block to relax. And as you exhale, you're gently squeezing and lifting, activating the pelvic floor muscles, activating the root center. Just 2 more breaths. Nice. From here, we're going to slowly walk ourselves up to the top of the mat. Just coming into a forward fold. So you can start to bring the hands to the feet to the hands. And again, keep a little bend into the knees so that your belly relaxes onto your thighs and have your feet about hip width apart. From here, you can either bring your hands onto a flat brick, or you can have hands to the floor, or you can bring your hands to your shins. If you need a little bit of support as well, you can bring your hands to the back of the thigh. So if you need this support, you're going to run your hands up the back of the legs. Otherwise, we're going to just straighten through the arms. As you inhale, lift up to a flat back, halfway lift. Keep chin tuck into chest, look into the floor. Lengthen the spine. As you exhale, belly compresses toward the thighs, release your head down, forward fold. Inhale, lengthen the spine, flat back. Hands run up if you're using the support on the back of the legs, and then run down as you exhale, forward fold. Just one more to lengthen, inhale, flat back. And as you exhale, we're going to come into a forward fold and stay here. Just for a minute, hold in a forward fold. But it's a really lovely way to access the pelvic floor muscles, and it's also sending the breath, the energy of prana down into the pelvis. So although it's forward fold and almost inversion here, where we compress the belly to the thighs, we're sending the breath down, the prana in the body down. So you can let your head relax. If you need to use a bit of support, you can hold onto the backs of the calves or ankles. Otherwise, you can just bring your hands to the floor or to props. Keep the little bend into the knees. And try to breathe as fully as you can. So the belly is still expanding. And this is a really lovely way to also lengthen and open the spine. So if you work at a desk, or if you drive a lot, if you're standing a lot as well, this is a nice way to decompress the whole spine. And where we have the knees bent, we're just protecting and supporting the lower back. So it takes a bit of weight out. So just try to let the weight of the skull drop toward the floor as much as you can. We're here for about another 30 seconds. Again, if you want to encourage the flow of apana vayu, which is that downward energy, that releasing energy, as you inhale, relax the pelvic floor muscles, and as you exhale, squeeze into Mula Bandha. Just keep coming back to your breath. We're just taking another 3 rounds of breath here. Nice. With your next inhale, we're going to plant the hands down to the floor underneath the face or to the shins. As you inhale, lengthen through the spine, keep just a little bend to the knees. And as you exhale, ground through the hands, step back with your next inhale to downward facing dog. As you exhale, we can drop the knees to the floor, walk yourself back to come to sit onto your heels or to a seat, and lift up through the chest, come into hero pose. Take a moment to pause here. Just coming back into a neutral position, head and heart over the hips. Just feel the effects of the pose, taking a moment in your rebound. Nice. So from here, we're going to come into a wide leg position. So if you just twist widthways onto your mat, you might want to use a blanket. So either a rolled up blanket to sit onto if you feel that your pelvis kind of tilts forward in a seated position. So you might want to come to sit here, and we can take the feet out to the side, wide leg position. If you don't need a blanket, or if you need extra support, you might want to bring a blanket into a noodle shape and then just bring it underneath either the backs of the knees or underneath the backs of the feet. Just make sure you feel nice and supported wherever you are. Nice, so we're going to do a twist side to side and then a fold. So we're going to be here for a little while. Just make sure you're propped up and comfortable wherever you are. And keep maybe a pillow or a bolster close by so we can use that when we're folding forward. So first, just find a long spine, find your sit bones nice and grounded, and try to feel that you're relaxed through the legs, relaxed through the pelvis. And we're going to turn first to the left side. So I'm going to mirror you, I'm going to turn to the right. So as you inhale, lift up, lengthen the spine, and as you exhale, we're turning to the left. So if it feels good for you to just stay and pause here, you can start to just find as much length and space in the spine as you can. And if it feels that you can twist it a little bit further, you can bring your left hand behind you to act as a support for your spine, and then start to bring your right hand to the side of the right thigh. And then we want to turn from the navel, turn from the breastbone, and keep lengthening up through the spine. So we're inhaling the breath for around 4 seconds. And as you exhale, trying to breathe out for around a count of 6 seconds. So you can count internally. So it's nice to bring a twist to the body after a forward fold. It just helps to realign the spine. It also brings more of a lighter energy into the mind. After forward folds, it can become quite heavy. So just noticing any differences that this posture brings to the body. Seeing if you can find a softening and a letting go into the shape. So the more that we can really embody our practice, we can embody what it is that we're trying to achieve on our mat, the more we can start to ingrain this into our everyday lives and circumstances that arise. So when we meet attention in our physical practice, the body responds, the mind responds. And the more we can start to drop into observation, into witness, by holding that space for ourselves, by letting go and releasing, by not holding attachment to what it is that's coming up, but just simply observing and staying focused with the breath is how we do that. Keeping the breath consistent, keeping it in a nice rhythm. So the 4-6 breath that we're doing now is very calming. If you have a more balanced ratio, like a 4-4 breath, that's more of a stabilizing breath. So using the breath here to come into a calming mindset. And we're just taking one more round of breath on this side of our twist. With your next inhale, you can slowly start to de-rotate, come back through to center. Just take a moment to pause and notice how it feels in your body to come back to central position. Find alignment again through the spine. Make any adjustments that you might need to do, and then as you exhale, we can take the twist to the right leg this time. So your hands just come either side of the leg, pause in here, your first edge. And then if you feel that you've got a little bit more space you can go into, you can bring your right hand directly behind you as a post to support the spine. And then your left hand come into the outside edge of your right thigh, just helping you to turn. Again, twist from the navel, twist from the breastbone, and then you can come into a still point, allowing ourselves to access a little bit of a deeper information on what's going on this side of the body. So following on from last week when we found that stillness, that ease in the posture, we want to find that again. We're coming back into as much stillness as we can in Yin. We're coming back to as much easefulness and comfortableness as we can in each shape. So although we're testing our edges, we're finding our edges, and we're trying to maybe expand into our edges a little bit, we're also respecting the body where it's at, where we need to go. Sometimes it's a little bit of a regression. And again, come back to that 4-6 breath. So you're inhaling for around 4 count and exhaling for around a 6 count. Allow the breath to really flood into the abdominal area. And this is going to help you really calm and soothe the nervous system. As the exhale pulls your belly button back to the spine, we're going to get maybe a little bit more deepening into the posture naturally. And we're just here for another 3 rounds of breath. After your next exhale, we can slowly start to turn ourselves back through to center. Just take a moment to pause, hands to thighs or to floor. Just tuning into the effects of the shape. So then we're going to move into a fold from here. So just bringing your hands, keep your props nearby you if you know that you want to rest onto something, or if you need a little bit of extra height, maybe some cushions or bricks. If not, just bring your hands about a foot ahead of you, keeping the sit bones nice and grounded. If you need to modify the legs, just changing the shape to whichever width feels comfortable. And as we inhale, we're going to lengthen the spine, keep chin tucked to chest. As you exhale, hinge from the hips, pull the belly button back to the spine, elbows bend out to the side, just come to halfway. Inhale, come back up to a flat back, long spine, chin tucks to chest. And as you exhale, fold forward from the hip crease, navel pulls back to the spine, elbows bend out to the spine, sides. 2 more, inhale, lengthen and lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale to lift. So if we can slow this down to a 6 count, to 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Pause in here. So you can start to bring your elbows down to the floor if they reach to the floor, or you can bring your hands a little bit further forward and keep the arms straight if that's more comfortable. If you want to take something to rest onto, come back up on an inhale, grab your prop, bring your prop here, and then as you exhale, take that slow forward fold again. So I'm just adding a little bit of dynamic movement today to help us get a little bit deeper into the body, because sometimes when we add movement, it just allows us to move past some of our edges that we create. So try to keep the chin tucking toward the chest, keeping the spine as long as you can. And again, slow the breath down again. So if you'd like to breathe a little bit slower in this one, maybe doubling the ratio. So you can breathe in for a count of 4 and exhale the breath for a count of 8 or 7. Just try and see how it feels to bring a slower breath. And at the ends of your exhales, noticing that little pause, that very calm, still space where we can start to access an even stiller point of the mind. So when the breath stops, when we hold the breath, the mind also stops. So just tune into that very small pause after your exhales, before you inhale. We're just here for another 4 rounds of breath. Maybe on your exhale, seeing if you can let yourself surrender and release into the posture a little deeper, allowing your body to come closer toward the floor, allowing the inner thighs to relax, allowing the spine to relax, allowing the mind to relax. So just taking one more breath cycle here. Take your time. And then after your next exhale, you can bring your hands to the floor or to your prop. And on an inhale, slowly push yourself back up to lifted. As you exhale, just take a moment to pause in the center. Just tune into how you're feeling, how the body is, how the mind is, how the emotions are feeling. And then we can use one hand behind one back of the knee, use the weight of the strength in the arms to pull that leg in, and then you can bring the other leg in. Just give yourself a little hug, squeeze the belly to the thighs, let yourself rest here, maybe rest in the forehead to the knees if that feels nice. Breathing into the belly. Nice, take one more breath. Lovely, and then from here, make your way over onto all fours. We're going to come into sleeping swan from here. So you might want to use another blanket underneath your hips, underneath your seat. So just have that handy. We're going to take ourselves toward the back end of the mat, and then we're going to lunge forward with the right leg. So just bring the right foot in between the hands at the top of the mat. Then you can start to shift your right foot over to the left side of the mat and bring that knee open. So if it's too much for you to come into a position here where your hips are more square and open, the front leg is parallel, let your body weight drop. So you've still got the bend in the front leg, but all of the weight is now on this hip. And then your back leg can just bend wherever it needs to go. So the pressure and the weight is coming onto that leg. So you can either work from there or you can work into a more squared hip position. If you want a bit of support underneath your hip or underneath the sit bones, just bring in a blanket, a bolster, a cushion to give you that support. I relax the foot. As we inhale, we're going to lift up, push away from the front leg. And as you exhale, you can walk your hands one step further forward. Keep chin tucked to the chest, lengthen the spine, inhale. And as you exhale, bend the elbows toward the floor, forward fold halfway. Inhale, lift and push back up. As you exhale, you can walk your hands one step further forward, if that's okay for you. Inhale, lengthen the spine. And as you exhale, slowly coming down, resting the elbows to the floor. You can pause here. Inhale, lengthen the spine. Chin stays tucked to chest. And as you exhale, if it feels good, you can start to lower yourself down to come to flat over your arms, flat over your front leg. If that's too strong for anybody to work from there, you can also come to figure four, resting on your back. So we just come down onto our back and either rest the right ankle onto the end of the left thigh, or you can work to bring your hands through, threaded, to lift that left leg off, and then you've got figure four shape. So just find your pause, find your breath again, trying to come to that 4-6 or 4-8 breath. Slowing down the body, slowing down the mind. Nice, so just here for another 45 seconds. Meeting your breath, meeting the stillness. Really encouraging that downward flow of energy. So sinking the pelvis, relaxing the legs, relaxing the pelvic floor as you inhale, maybe taking a little bit of engagement into Mula Bandha as you exhale. Encouraging the downward energy. There's just one more breath cycle here. And then your next inhale, we can start to press back up onto the hands. Just take a moment. And then we want to tuck the back toes under, shift in through the back knee. And then we can slowly slide the right leg knee to floor, coming onto all fours. If you're on your back, you can just take your feet to the floor and switch over, coming to left ankle to the end of the right thigh. Nice, take any adjustments, then we can go over to the other side. So this time you're going to bring your left knee up to the top. Oh no, sorry, we're going to step forward with the left foot, come into a lunge, that's easier. And then take the foot over to the right side of the mat. Let the knee drop down to the floor, and then you can start to stretch back through your right leg. So again, you can either keep the pelvis square, or if this side feels more comfortable to rest, you can let the weight drop down onto that left leg. Or if you need to, you can always find figure 4 shape from the floor. Take any props that might support you or help you into this shape. And then as we inhale, we can lift, lengthen the spine. As you exhale, you can start to bow the body down. Take the hands one step forward, inhale, lengthen the spine, chin tucks to chest. And as you exhale, bend in the elbows, you can start to bring the elbows down to the floor. Inhale, find length through the spine. And as you exhale, you can start to fold forward. So maybe resting your foreheads onto a brick or to the floor or cushion, or just staying in a more of a lifted position if that's more comfortable. Again, trying to let the pelvis sink down. Allowing the jaw to relax. Allow the tongue to relax in the mouth. Allowing the weight of the pelvis to sink into the floor. And trying to find that slow, calming breath. So 4 to 6 or 4 to 8 ratio. Just here for another 1.5 minutes. Just bringing your mind gently back to your breath. Trying to find your anchor in stillness. And noticing that gentle pause after your exhale, tuning into that space. Taking your last round of breath here. And then on your next inhale, you can start to come back up to your hands. Gently tuck in your back toes under, shift your back knee in so you've got support, and then you can slide back through your left knee to come to all fours. You might want to take just a quick rebound into child's pose if that feels good. Or we're going to make our way down to your cobra from here, so you can maybe bring yourself flat and just take a moment to rest, making a pillow with your hands. If you're on your back, just rolling over onto your front. Nice, so from here, Making our way onto our bellies, we're going to stretch the legs out long. You might need a blanket underneath the hips. And then we can take the elbows just ahead of the shoulders, so you've got a nice space in between your elbow and your body. And your hands are going to come parallel. So just start to let your spine lengthen. You want to really feel the pubic bone pressing down toward the mat, and a nice lengthening from that point up into the third eye. So the whole front line of the body is opening. We're feeling a compression into the back body and a very gentle tucking of the tailbone down toward the floor. You can relax the legs, and we're just breathing here. If it's a little bit too strong on the neck and shoulders, you can either bring your hands just to cup the chin, rest your head into your hands, or you can also let your chin tuck in towards your chest and your head gently bow forward if that gives your neck a nice stretch. Just here for about another minute and a half. So when apana vayu is in balance and is in flow, we feel very effortless in our ability to move forward with life, to release what's no longer serving, to let go of anything that we're attached to. We find it easy to forgive. And we also feel a nice fluidity. Everything is working and flowing. And often when that center or that wind, that vayu is out of balance, we find that we hold resentment. We have a deep fear of letting go. And this can really throw us out of balance, and it stops us from progressing, stops us from allowing processes to happen. It's an inability to also digest our experience fully. But when we find this center is balanced, maybe by practicing flows like forward folds and mula bandha, we can really allow ourselves to release lower, denser energies and find that state of letting go, of moving in flow and of forgiveness. So we can slowly come out of our cobra just by bending the elbows, allowing ourselves to make a pillow with the hands. And you can turn your cheek to one side, rest your head down. If it feels nice to roll the feet in and out, you can do that, or you can bend the knees and sway the feet side to side just to release anything in the lower back. So you can turn the face to the other side. Nice, we're going to press ourselves up onto all fours, and we can come round into a seat. You can take the legs out in front of you. We're going to come into a seated twist. So again, you might want to use a blanket underneath your sit bones just to give you a little bit of height. If not, you can stay as you are. So taking the left leg out in front, and we're going to bring the right foot flat to the mat. And then you can take that right foot over. If you feel comfortable with the leg out here, you can stay here. If you've got a little bit more space, you can just lean to the side, and then we're bringing that foot round to the side of the hip. So you want it just to the side of the hip, and then you can navigate your sit bones back to the floor. Make sure that your right foot still stays grounded and flat to the mat. Find a nice long spine. I'm not mirroring you, just so you're aware. We're going to take the right hand behind, and as you inhale, lift the left arm up. And as you exhale, you can either hook and turn or hug. So the shin and knee bone to the forearm. Twist from the navel, from the pubic bone, from the breastbone, and keeping a nice full breath into the belly. Let the belly compress to the thigh. You can look towards the back of the room and gently close down through the eyes. Allow your breath to stay full in the abdomen, so you're keeping a nice slow rhythmic breath. And again, you can come back to the 4-6 or 4-8 breath if that feels good for you. Just allowing ourselves to calm down, slow down. So twists really help in the digestive system also. So they're a really nice way to tie in with the downward movement of energy. Just by supporting the digestive system, we're helping the elimination system and encouraging that flow of apana, vayu, a downward movement. So the more we find that releasing, that letting go of all that's not serving us, all that's creating chaos in us, we can then start to have a really clear view of who we are at our core. When we find that we're present, we're not being pulled by external distractions, we're really allowing ourselves to go more internal. We're feeling more embodied. And this is what, when we practice forward folds and this slowing down of the breath, that encouragement of downward energy into apana vayu, this is what we're feeling and tapping into. Nice, so just here for one more round of breath. And then on your next inhale, you can slowly de-rotate, come back through to center, take a moment to pause. And then we can take the top leg off, take the underneath leg out, stretch the legs out. And then we'll go to the other side. So I'm not mirroring you again. I'm going to take the left foot over, bring the foot as close into the body as you can. Nice planted down through the toes, through the heel, keep that foot anchored. And then you can either stay with the leg out long or bring the foot round, right foot to your hip. Find your sit bones again. Nice grounded support through your left foot. Your right hand is going to come up as you inhale. Take your left hand behind you, find the ground. And as you exhale, you're going to hook and turn, or you're going to hug and turn. Find the twist from the navel, from the breastbone. Really allow yourself to ground into your sit bones. And then you can start to take the gaze round to the back of the room, closing down through the eyes, and just come back to that slow, rhythmic breath. Just noticing how the body feels on this side and seeing if you can really bring yourself back into your breath, back into this present moment, awareness. Allowing your belly to feel nice and full with your inhales. And the navel's pulling back to the spine, helping with that rotation, that twisting and that movement in your digestive system. As you exhale, maybe finding a little bit more deepening into the twist. And we're just here for 2 more breath cycles. Taking your time. On your next inhale, you can slowly de-rotate, come back through to center, holding onto the front leg. Nice, and then take the front leg over, underneath leg comes out, coming into staff pose, Dandasana. Just bring your hands beside your hips, find a tall spine. We can take a little bend into the back of the knee if your hamstrings are tight, or you can use a rolled up blanket underneath the backs of the knees. Bring your hands up as you inhale. And as you exhale, you can hinge from the hips, pull the navel back to the spine, reach towards your feet or your shins or the floor beside your calves. Take an inhale, lengthen the spine, chin tucks to the chest. And as you exhale, you can start to forward fold over the legs. Coming into a static position, let yourself drop into your forward fold. Again, breathing fully into the belly. Forward fold is a really lovely way to allow us to really come inward. Give us a sense of safety and security as we drop more inward to ourselves. Just finding that sense of surrender, of letting go to yourself in this shape. We're just here for 4 more breaths. With your next inhale, you can slowly start to lift yourself back up. If it feels nice, you can reach your arms all the way up overhead as you inhale, come to flat back. And as you exhale, you can bring your hands to the floor or to your thighs. Just take a moment to pause here, taking the time to come out of the shape. Just feeling the effects of the shape. And then we can shift ourselves into the middle. We're going to make our way to Shavasana, just taking a quick counter pose. So just grab anything that you might want. So jumpers, socks, blankets, your bolster or cushions. And we can slowly roll ourselves down to the mat. Keep chin tucked to chest, lengthen the spine. And when you get down, we're just taking 3 rolls up and down in through bridge to decompress the spine. So hands can come beside your hips, press into your feet, feet are parallel. Take an inhale, lift your hips up, send your knees away from the face, push into the sacrum, lift in the back of the chest. And as you exhale, slowly roll yourself back down to the mat. On your inhale, you're lifting up, pushing into the feet, pushing into the sacrum to lift your hips as high as you can.
Opening the abdomen, and as you exhale, slowly rolling down. You can take one more inhale to lift. And as you exhale, slowly making your way down into Shavasana. You can either turn the heels out and just rest here with feet on the floor, knees bent, or taking full Shavasana, legs out long. Maybe it might feel nice to take a bolster underneath the backs of the knees, or you can take a pillow to the back of the head. You might want to cover the eyes. Just allowing yourself to come into the most comfortable position that you can find. Taking an inhale here. And exhale. Letting your body release and relax. Take up as much space through your back. And just allowing yourself to breathe into the abdomen. As you inhale, expand the belly. You exhale, find that softening, that relaxing through the abdomen. So no effort on your exhale. Just watching the in and out flow of your breath. Letting go does not mean you have given up, and it does not mean you no longer care. It just means that you are releasing the attachments of the past that keep getting in the way of your happiness and mental clarity. Letting go is the unbinding and disentangling of old behaviour patterns that keep pulling you into unnecessary mental tension and worry. When you can be okay with things not having gone a certain way, life begins again. Making peace with the past opens you to love, adventures, and allows you to apply the lessons you have learned with a new calmness. When you're ready, you can gradually start to bring some deeper breaths into the body. Some gentle movement into the fingers, the toes, maybe turning the head side to side, just waking your body up, coming back into motion.
And then when you feel ready to, you can roll to your right side. Just take a moment to pause on your side. Breathing into the back of the body. And then when you're ready, slowly and gently make your way up to a comfortable seat, keeping your gaze inward, your movements nice and slow. And we can bring hands into prayer, resting thumbs onto heart space. May we continue to feel the benefits and effects of apana vayu throughout our lives, to really tune into the greatness of letting go, of releasing, allowing our life to move us into deep forgiveness and gratitude for all that comes. Bowing your head down, allowing yourself to release any final remnants with your next exhale, letting go of anything that is not serving. Breathing in fresh new energy, offering gratitude to our bodies, to our lives, and to each other. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming to practice.